Diving right into election results, CBS News projects Republicans have retained control of the Senate, flipping seats currently held by Democrats. The night's big winners included Mike Braun of Indiana, Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, and Josh Hawley of Missouri. President Trump tweeted it was a tremendous success. And it looks like that can even be the case here in Montana, but it's too early to tell as the results are still trickling in. The hotly contested Senate race that brought President Trump to Montana 4 times is neck and neck. Let's take a look at these close numbers. Republican Matt Rosendale has 49% of the votes, while incumbent Senator Jon Tester is at 48%. These close numbers have lasted all throughout the night and into this morning. Here's MTM's Jonathan, who was at Rosendale's watch party.
Here at the Delta Colonial Hotel in Helena, the party broke up without a clear result. State Auditor Matt Rosendale's election night viewing party broke up just after midnight. All through the night, as results started to come in, Rosendale was in the room talking to some of his supporters, shaking hands, and just before 11 p.m. he was ready to make a statement. He said it's not clear when we'll know exactly what the result is, but he thanked his supporters and expressed optimism.
You all have been so supportive over the last 12 months. You've been knocking on doors, you've been making phone calls for us, and we are almost there.
Rosendale's campaign says they don't know yet when they might have a final result. It means it may be well into the morning before we know exactly what happened this election night. In Helena, Jonathan Amberian, MTN News.
Democratic U.S. Senator Jon Tester and his supporters knew late last night that his race was far from over, but the senator told his supporters at the Holiday Inn in Great Falls that they'd have to wait a while to find out the final result.
We've got some more to do yet, and there's no need staying up till the wee hours of the morning and being all puffy-eyed. Go to bed, get some sleep. We'll celebrate tomorrow because we've got a lot of work to do.
At 11 p.m., the senator said that people in Gallatin County were still waiting in line to vote at that counting, and that counting all the votes had a long way to go. At that time, Tester had a slim lead of around 1,000 votes over Republican challenger Matt Rosendale. That lead slipped away in the next few hours as more returns came in from rural counties across the state. Rosendale edged ahead after midnight and by early this morning still held a lead of more than 2,000 votes, but uncounted votes still remain in some of Montana's major cities, including Missoula, Bozeman, Great Falls, and here in Billings. Last night, Tester told supporters that he felt good about the final outcome.
We have been here before, as many of you know, 6 years ago and 12 years ago, and I will tell you, the folks that I've talked to over the last month or so, I think I've told you, you've heard me say that, you know, this was probably going to be decided sometime on Wednesday. And so this is no surprise. I feel absolutely unequivocally very good about where we're at right now. And I will tell you that I look forward to sharing with you tomorrow some very good news.
Tester's campaign said it's planning a news conference sometime later this morning at the Holiday Inn when the race has finally been called. Turning to the House, CBS News projects Democrats have knocked off enough GOP incumbents to gain control of the U.S. House of Representatives. The last time the House was blue was in 2010. With their victory on Tuesday, Democrats will take over the leadership of key committees that could launch numerous investigations into the Trump White House, as well as provide checks on White House priorities like tax cuts and deregulation. But it's a different tale here in Montana as incumbent Greg Gianforte takes an early lead. At this hour, Gianforte leads with 53% of the votes. Democrat Kathleen Williams brings in 44% of the votes. After Gianforte pulled ahead in the polls, spokesman Travis Hall told reporters morale is good and that Greg even spent the day hunting on Tuesday. Although Democrats have taken control of the U.S. House, Hall says Greg will continue to represent Montana. And Williams wasn't giving up hope. She expressed appreciation for her supporters while talking to MTN's Medeiros Babb last night and had hope the uncounted ballots would boost her numbers.
Well, it's my hope that I'm Montana's next Congresswoman, and I look forward to hitting the ground running and making my to-do list and getting out there and getting things done.
Looking now at state ballot initiatives, it's not looking good for either I-185 or I-186. So far, 55% of the voters have said no to I-185, also known as the tobacco tax. 45% of voters showed their support. Many in the healthcare field praised the initiative, but opponents are worried the initiative wouldn't pay for itself and other areas of the state would suffer. For I-186, it looks like Montanans are saying no to that initiative as well. The initiative would put restrictions on future mines across Montana unless the reclamation plan meets specific requirements to protect waterways. With the ballots counted so far this morning, 59% have said no, while 41% are showing their support. The Stop I-186 group gathered at the Copper King Hotel ballroom last night to watch the results. They say the initiative would hurt the mining industry and the economy in Montana, so they were satisfied with the early lead.
This thing is going to impact all new mining in Montana. We seriously believe that if this initiative passes, there will not be a new mine in Montana.
The state is showing overwhelming support for the 6 mil levy that supports the Montana University system. Early results show 61% of voters said yes to legislative referendum 128. Another referendum, number 129 on ballot collection, is seeing some strong support as well. The yes votes sit at 63% with no's at 37%. This referendum authorizes specific people to collect voter ballots. The intent is to ensure ballots are not collected by fraudulent or partisan actors who might dispose of a ballot. Here in Yellowstone County, there's a new county commissioner. Republican businessman Don Jones took the lead over incumbent Robin Driscoll. The latest numbers show the votes at 57 to 43%. Driscoll was appointed to the position back in 2016 when Bill Kennedy resigned from the position. Last night, we asked Jones about his hopes for his new job.
You know, I want to be involved with local government. I've been in the legislature. You're 1 out of 150. This is closer to the people. It's 1 out of 3. It takes another person to move forward. And I think with my business experience and background, I want to make Yellowstone County the best county that it can be for both business and people and everything else.
And now we move over to neighboring Bighorn County, where it's a close race for sheriff. At last check, Lawrence Big Hair had 53% of the votes, while current sheriff Robert Simpson was at 47%. The race might sound familiar to Bighorn County voters because the two faced off in 2014, with Simpson narrowly winning the seat. But it appears Bighorn County is certain about one thing. They don't approve of a loan for a $12.3 million jail expansion. 58% of voters are against the loan, while 42% were for the loan. The county made a big push to get the loan approved as their current facility is outdated and overcrowded. Now we go to Wyoming, where voters weighed in on seats for the Senate, House, and governor. In that race for governor, early numbers project former state treasurer Republican Mark Gordon as the winner. Numbers show Gordon with 67% of votes and Democrat Mary Throne with 28%. This new assignment comes as current Governor Matt Mead finishes up his 2 terms. From Wyoming's U.S. House seat, incumbent Republican Representative Liz Cheney looks to be the voter favorite. Running for her 2nd term in the House, she brought in 64% of votes. The oldest daughter of former Vice President Dick Cheney, she has a strong lead over several other candidates. It appears Wyoming also wants to hang on to a familiar face in the Senate. Republican incumbent John Barrasso, who has served since 2007, has more than double the votes over Democratic opponent Greg Hunter. And of course, these are just some of the races that went on across the state. For more, you can visit our website, ktvq.com. And given about half of the state's precincts were reported this morning, the numbers will change. Any major updates will come to you on air and online right here on KTVQ throughout the morning. And across the nation, Tuesday's midterm elections included the most diverse group of candidates ever in the U.S., and history has already been made in several big races, which captured the country's attention. CBS's Kenneth Craig has a look at some of the big firsts.
Tonight. The record-breaking number of women on ballots across the country included Republican Marsha Blackburn, who was quick to thank voters for electing her the first woman ever to represent Tennessee in the United States Senate.
And just imagine this, it is a conservative woman to boot.
In New York, Democrat Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez became the youngest woman elected to Congress at just 29 years old. In Massachusetts, Ayanna Pressley ran unopposed as a Democrat and became the first black woman to represent the Commonwealth in Congress. Voters are also infusing Washington with some new ethnic diversity. Democrat Ilhan Omar will serve as the nation's first Somali-American congresswoman.
We are done waiting. We are the ones we have been waiting for. Let's get to work.
She'll be joined by Michigan Democrat Rashida Tlaib, also a Muslim and the first Palestinian American to serve in Congress. Voters in Kansas chose Democrat Sharice Davids. She'll be the first Native American congresswoman. She's also a lesbian and was among a number of LGBTQ candidates, including Colorado Democrat Jared Polis, who will be the nation's first openly gay governor. Kenneth Craig, CBS News, New York.